What do you do when the real estate deal you were supposed to profit from starts bleeding you dry? That's not hypothetical. That is the question this entire channel was built to answer. Let me give you a real example before I tell you anything about it. Alon was an investor living out of the country. His property manager called him and told him, take this $35,000 offer. Take it and be done. But instead of doing that, he came to me instead. And we sold that property for $90,000. That's a $55,000 difference. Same property, same market, but in working with me, Alon benefited from 2 decades of knowing what properties actually sell for in Cleveland. Most of real estate advice tells you how to get into deals. There are gurus teaching no money down strategies. You see influencers flashing Lamborghinis, boarding yachts, drinking champagne. And their promise to you is always the same: passive income, financial freedom, and you will get to quit your job in 6 months. The problem is, most of what is out there tells you how real estate should work or could work, but nobody tells you what to do when it doesn't. This channel exists for that moment. It's for when you're 3 months behind on the mortgage and the tenants won't pay and they won't leave, but the bills are still stacking. It's for when your property manager or your contractor won't return your calls. I built the space for that owner. Here's who I am and why I am the right person to talk about this. I started investing here in Cleveland with just $5,600 in my 401k. I didn't even have that in the bank. That's all I was working with. And my mother had cancer. She was still working 2 jobs to make ends meet, and I wanted to retire her. So I took that $5,600 and I started buying properties here in Cleveland. I wasn't given anything. I didn't have any network. I didn't have any family money. I just had a crazy market and a goal that I refused to quit on. That was 23 years ago. Today, I'm a broker. I've been through 4 market cycles. I've seen what works and I've seen what destroys people. And I have built a team specifically designed to help owners that are stuck get unstuck. Here's what I want you to understand: I've made every mistake in this business before I figured out any of it. I've been stuck with water bills that cost more than the property itself. I've had properties foreclosed. I've had buildings standing one day, just like that, leveled the next. I've dealt with building codes violations that landed me in jail. I've had business partners, people I trusted, walk away and then come back and sue me for profits that never existed. I'm not telling you this to impress you. I am telling you because every single one of these failures has taught me something that you cannot learn from watching a highlight reel. And those lessons are what I bring to every deal that I work on, including yours. Here's something people don't talk about. When you own real estate, people don't sympathize with you. From the outside looking in, it looks like you have it together. Like you're the one with the assets. You're the one who's winning. But from the outside, you could be barely keeping your head above water. You can't talk to your friends about being behind on your rental property or blowing up your rehab budget. Most people just can't relate. They think owning property means you're rich. They don't see the tenant that hasn't paid in months. They don't see the building codes violation that showed up on your property that you haven't visited in years. That loneliness is real. And if you're carrying it right now, you're in the right place. This channel is built for one person first. The out of state owner with a Cleveland property that's costing them more than it's making, and that doesn't know what their next move is. Maybe you move and you can sell it. Maybe the numbers that make sense 3 years ago don't make sense anymore. Maybe a divorce or medical situation changed everything. And now you're holding on to a property that feels like a weight around your neck. If you are local and stuck, you're in the right place too. If you've inherited a property that you never asked for, and now it feels more like a burden than a blessing, you're in the right place too. And even if you don't know what your next move is, that's exactly where I come in. Let me give you two real situations. Remember Alon, the investor? He was living out of the country. His property manager pushed him to take a $35,000 lowball offer from a wholesaler, and then she disappeared. He was under contract, and the wholesaler was digging into him, changing terms, pushing the closing dates. So he came to me. First, we took over management of the property, and we raised the rent from $950 to $1,500 a month. Then when the tenant moved out and we found the property destroyed, we didn't panic. We spent $6,000 on strategic cleanup. And then we sold the property for $90,000. That's a $55,000 difference. That's not luck. That's using the right strategy for his situation. Or take Yossi. He had been investing in Cleveland for over 11 years. His property manager stole his rent money. The last two property managers slash realtors were just incompetent. He was bleeding cash trying to collect $500 and $600 rents on lower end properties. We sold all of those. And now he's getting $1,800 in rent with properties that are worth well over $200,000. Those are the outcomes that I work toward every single time. With over 20 years of doing this, I've developed what I call the Pentagon principles. It's a framework built on 5 pillars to help you evaluate any property before you make your next move. I break it down in detail in a separate video. You'll find it in the description. But everything on this channel runs through that framework. Here's what I want you to do right now. Subscribe to this channel, because every week I put out real stories from the trenches, the tenant situations, the problem properties, and the stuck deals, and exactly how we work through them. And no yachts, no boot camps, no easy money promises. Just 20 plus years of real life experience. Because sometimes you get it wrong before you get it right. I'm Vladimir Lobo, licensed broker, Cleveland real estate investor. And if you've got a property right now that's draining you, I want to help you find your way out. Watch the next video and ask yourself this: what would it feel like to finally have a clear plan for that problem property?